What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to take a look at the CPI score. So I know I'm a little bit late. This happened a couple of days ago, but I got busy doing some of these polls, and I've been doing some polling. I'm sure you guys have noticed on the channel. And I want to keep doing those, but I do want to also talk about CPI, and I want to talk about Social Security and the impact of the latest numbers that we just saw when it comes to inflation. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. So this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and every month they will put out information regarding inflation. Okay, and so that's what the CPI score is, Consumer Price Index. That's what they're focused on here. Now, the reason why this is important, well, there's a few reasons why it's important, but one of the reasons why you guys like to watch my channel and hear about the CPI is because we find out information as far as COLA. What is COLA going to be for 2025? Okay, so let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So if we're looking at year-over-year CPI, it's at 2.9%. Now, when we go down to this graph here, this will give us a better indicator of what we've been seeing over the last year, really. So starting back in July of 2023, we saw this is a month-to-month increase, but you'll understand what I'm saying here. So we saw a little uptick here, came back down, went here, then went up a little bit more, then came all the way down here. In June, we actually saw a negative number. Okay, so that was a negative 0.1. That was month over month. The month prior to that, in May, it was flat, no change. Okay, now we're seeing just a slight increase of 0.2%. Now, the Federal Reserve is actually, they're happy to see the 0.2% increase, because what you don't want is if we didn't see this here and we just saw it keep continuing to go down, then now we're looking at recession territory. We're looking at a situation where our economy is on life support. So we want to know that we still have a little bit of oomph, if you want to say that, when it comes to our economy. And so that 0.2% is not bad. Now, looking at core inflation and all items. So all items are in blue. Core inflation is right here. This is what the Federal Reserve likes to look at. And you can just see from July 2023, it's continued to come down. Core inflation has. Okay, now core inflation is minus energy and food. And so it's less volatile. That's why they use core inflation. The Federal Reserve uses that in order to determine if they're going to do interest rate cuts or anything like that. So that's what we're looking at right now. When we're looking at all items, of course, all items are going to go up and down because you have energy in there and you also have food. So let's take a look at some of the categories. And you guys know I like to look at the food categories mainly because we all need to eat. We go to the grocery store, we're looking at those prices, and we're saying, look, it's way too expensive. Why is it so expensive? Well, this can give us some indicators of why it's expensive. So year over year, we have the 2.9% on all items. Now, when it comes to food, so all food items, it's 2.2% year over year. And we saw a slight increase of 0.2%. Now, food at home, we saw a slight increase of 0.1%. And year over year, it's 1.1%. So basically, just so you guys understand the year over year, what they're saying is food costs 1.1% more than it did in 2023. That's what they're saying there. Now, that doesn't mean all items are 1.1% more. That just means when you pull in all the items. So if you go into a grocery store and you do all of your shopping, some items are going to be more. You know, they'll be higher than that 1.1%. Some items will be less than that 1.1%. And so the average is that 1.1%. That's what they're saying there. Food away from home, 4.1%. So food away from home, restaurants, fast food restaurants. We've seen an uptick in fast food restaurants offering these value meals and things like that, these value deals, $5 value deal and all that. The reason why they're doing that is because consumers, they're done. They're done paying these expensive prices at fast food restaurants. And they let that be known. And so now you have McDonald's, you have Burger King, you have Taco Bell, you have all these fast food restaurants saying, look, we need to have some type of a value menu so we can bring these customers back in. Because fast food, that's a luxury. We don't need to have fast food. We can go to the grocery store, buy food, and cook it at home. And so if the fast food industry starts seeing that we're not going there anymore, they need to draw us back in. And that's what they're trying to do there. Okay, so energy 1.1%. Energy commodities minus 2%, so that's good. Energy is going to be very, very volatile. It's going to go up and down, up and down. Okay, so one thing I do want to mention, I want to mention shelter because this is the real driver right now. Okay, I think I have that right. Let me drop down just a little bit. Okay, so the real driver right now is shelter, and shelter is at 5.1%. Now we all know, when it comes to the cost of houses, the cost of housing period, whether you're renting, whether you're paying a mortgage, it's very, very expensive. And depending on where you live, it can be just outrageously expensive. In California is very, very expensive. New York, even Atlanta, even in Georgia now, you have some places that are getting pretty expensive. Miami. So when we're looking at shelter overall, shelter is actually keeping inflation up there. And so we have to do something about that. And there are a few different things that people have talked about doing. We need to have more housing, more available housing. You have more available housing, then the cost of houses will go down. And also, you have to understand that interest rates are so high right now. You have a lot of people that are just out of the market. They don't want to buy a house, and so they're choosing to rent. And because they're choosing to rent, then guess what? These landlords, they can raise their prices because people need a place to stay, and they can't afford a house right now because of interest rates, and the cost of housing is so expensive. And so now they're choosing to rent, and so landlords raise the prices, and so now you see where some of that inflation is coming from. Okay, so now let's talk about COLA for 2025. Let's talk about Social Security. So we have our first indicator, 2.9%. That's the overall. But what I want to focus on is what are the projections at this point. Okay, now next month I will put out the numbers again, and then later in September, that's when I'll start doing some calculations and show you guys what I am predicting. Because we won't know. We need July, August, and September in order to have the information that we need to know what COLA is going to be for 2025. And so it's delayed a month. So we're in August now. We received the information for July. And so next month we'll receive the information for August. And then in October, we'll receive the information for September. But late September, we should have a really pretty good idea. And that's when I'll give you guys what I think COLA will be. Now, there are the Senior Citizens League. They do this every month. They have a projection, okay? And then they will alter that projection just depending on what the CPIW. And remember, they're taking the CPIW, the Consumer Price Index for wage earners. Okay, so let's take a look at the projection. So this is coming from the Senior Citizens League, and as I stated, every month they do this, and they will adjust this according to what we see when it comes to the CPI scores every month. So what they're projecting right now, this is their forecast, 2.57% COLA for 2025. Okay, that doesn't mean that's what it is. That's what they're projecting, okay? And this is down. It was at 2.63%. And so now, because we're seeing inflation continuing to drop, we're going to see the COLA continue to drop. Unless we see in August, in this month, unless we see a spike in the CPI score, if we don't see that, then we're going to continue to see that drop. And we'll see where it ends up. But that's what we're looking at right now. And so, what does this mean? Basically, it means that COLA is not going to be that much. It won't be as high, at least right now. The projections are that it won't be as high as it was last year, and definitely won't be as high as it was the year before last. And so that's what we're looking at, 2.57. That's the projection coming from the Senior Citizens League. And that's going to amount to maybe $40 extra for the average person receiving Social Security benefits. It'll be maybe about $40. So it's not going to be a lot. Okay, and then you have to factor in Medicare. Medicare will probably take another $10, so you might see a boost of like $30 total. So I want to know what you guys think about this, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.